Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what aloe vera, the ground shoot formation, and the creation of oxygen at night. We started about creation of spores to the seeds in the last one, and I do understand from atom, elements, molecule, compound to the cells. The whole thing started as a process from mineral kingdom to the plant kingdom. And in the beginning of the plant kingdom, it was the spore formation or the sprout or the ankur which I talked about in the last one. So I do know we should go systematically step by step to understand concept clearly as we go. In the last one I did talk about it. Bananas and onions again shoot from the ground itself, and then going on to the formation of fruits as well as seeds thereafter. There is a process, and the process was very well explained, and we will try to repeat the same thing in this particular process as such. You can see in this particular picture spores, then how formation, and how from there plant comes, and how the flowers come, how the fruits come, how the seeds come, and then thereafter. Now the genesis, the biochemistry, I have been saying very clearly, science of biology or biochemistry has evolved from atoms, elements, molecules and organic compounds. The synthesis of biochemistry compound in plants is the interesting part of the biochemistry. Now a sexual recreation of the plant again, without the seeds, under the ground. Seeds were created later. This is a statement which I have been making it very clear. Hen came first or egg came first is not the question. Even egg came later, hen came much later. But before egg came itself there were sprouts, and that is spores which I am talking about, and we will start from mineral kingdom to the plant kingdom first, so that we can understand animals and human beings at a later date. It's a whole process which nature has designed on Devyank and Devyank alone. Now you can see the picture, asexual creation of aloe vera, new plant from the old plant. You see the plants are there, and in the ground we have seen, and from the ground itself the new plants are seen in both the plants. Remove soil is there, major mother plant is there. There is a child plant of the daughter plant side by side, in the left to the right and right to the left. And I think this is the beauty of that. Same thing in bananas, same thing in onions. In my last, and this is the process which I would say is inconsistency. There is asexual reproduction itself. Now the question of the process starts again, step by step, how from spores we have come to the formation of the flowers, leaves, flowers, fruits and seeds, and thereafter in this picture is very clear in that part, and I am great to the scientists and their artists making things very clear in the process. Now we are coming to the divine mathematics. The language of arts is mathematics, or the language of science is mathematics. Divine mathematics can resolve every question. So question of mother of sciences, mother of arts, mother of everything is mathematics, and that divine mathematics is Devyank and Devyank alone. You can see almost 12 pictures in this form which represent the creation of the universal law, which is represented including the fetus too. And one other thing in this is aloe vera itself, which is like I would say the seventh from the top, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and the same thing is reflected. But there is something written in this particular thing which makes you think what is divine mathematics, and that is the golden ratio or the spiral galaxy or the Devyank ratio or Devyank sequence, Devyank rectangle as such. These all start in the same process and same organic thing. What exactly is divine mathematics then? Let's understand that first. Let me tell you, the whole essence is called Fibonacci sequence. You can see 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89 and 144. It goes on the same process. And same thing in the graphic presentation, you can see in the rectangle, which is the golden rectangle, you call Divyang rectangle, you can see the number 21, 13, 8, 5 and 3 in the same reversal, and that is what Divyang is all about. Everything starts with that and done with this. Now, who started the previous sequence? I will be very clear. It is not Fibonacci who designed it for the first time. He is the one who propagated in the West in 1202 only. But the fact is, this thing was known to the Indians from the very beginning itself. And if you see the one they have written about is, number is such, the third number is the sum of the preceding two numbers. That is the concept which was spoken about it. And with the Pingla who talked about in Bharat in 450 BC, which is almost like 2500 years ago, he called it Misra or Ch. The two numbers are mixed to leading to the third number. That exactly what is. Veera Banka 700 AD caught variation of two carrier numbers, the earlier numbers lead to the third number in the sequence form, and that's the ratio it is. And when Divyang ratio is based on that, so is the golden ratio, and the perfect thing is that. But only thing, golden ratio as given by two number is not perfect, whereas the Divyang gives you the perfect number of 1.618034. This most approximate decimal value ever done by anybody in the history of mankind is Shivbhushan Sharma as 1.618034, and nothing less and nothing more. And this has created the whole divine mathematics thereafter. But incidentally, Leonard Vinci have explained it in 1200, but incidentally he called it of Indian origin only. He never said it was his. That is the interesting part. The real beauty is the hidden golden ratio of 1.6180, and that is something that gross form is very clear in Fibonacci sequence. Let's accept that as a number, very clear on that part. But unfortunately, Western mathematician got a mathematical design which gave you 1.61803397 etc. infinite digits, which was defective. And that's what I said, 1.618034 is the correct explanation. Everything else is defective. We need to rectify defects. Now the question of 7 layers of branches, you can see very clearly. We are in the plant kingdom, and you can see the stem is 1, then the 2 branches, then the 3 branches, then 5 branches, then 8 branches, then 13 branches, then 20. This is from the internet and internationally accepted how plants grow in the process. And this is divine mathematics. Sometimes you may not see in every plant, but it's a divine design with which it's done. That is what I'm trying to explain with this particular thing. Now coming to the question of aloe vera plant. When we talk about the structure in the Fibonacci sequence is seen, right in the center you can see a dot. Then you see 1, then you see 1, then 2, 3, 5, 8. The whole spirals go on the same direction one by one. It's beautifully seen in this, as well as sunflower plants and many other things that you have already shown in Fibonacci sequence. You can go to this example. Since we are talking about aloe vera, this fits into that particular sequence as such. That's a divine design. Nature played it very well in this particular thing. The first thing which I am trying to show is a plant which is designed beautifully in that. That means there is divinity in this particular plant as such. Leave it at. Now comes the question of structure of spiral plant. A plant has a triangular fleshy leaves with serrated edges, yellow tubular flowers, and fruits that contain numerous seeds. Now again, as I told you, they grow from the earth, but they go further to grow into trail leaves which are green in color. But when also comes the leaves out of it, then serrated edges, yellow tubular flowers, and the fruits that contain numerous seeds. Now again, here again, although it starts from the ground, but it finally leads to yellow flowers, fruits and seeds. That means it has created its own thing asexually itself, within itself. It does not need anything from outside. And also The male and female parts as such also something which I have already explained. I am not going to details of this. Now each leaf is composed of 3 layers. Inner clear gel that contains 99% water. Again, it is 99% water, and the rest is made of glucosamines, amino acids, lipids, sterols and vitamins. This is very clear inner core, which is white in color. It's a gel, 99% water, which is again amino acid, lipids, steroids and vitamins, etc. there. These are very vital in the whole process because they are very essential for the self as well as for the others. Then middle layer of lettuce is a bitter yellow sap and contains anthraquinones and glycosides. That's the second part. The third outer layer, the green one, is 15 to 20 cells called rind, which has a protective function and synthesis and contains carbohydrates and proteins in the form in the process. Inside the rind are vascular bundles responsible for transportation of substances such as water, xylem and starch, phlegm as such. I think this is a beautiful anatomical structure of aloe vera plant itself, and I think this is so descriptive. I think once you understand that, you understand how beautiful is this particular plant. So the structure wise is clear, very specific, very divine, can do wonders in the process. Now, as I showed you the same thing in this particular picture once again, you can see the whole thing, how it's created outside and inside one by one. Then this is the plant again which I am showing it. You can see the grown inside, you can see the leaves, you can see the flowers, you can see the fruits, and you can see the seeds as on top are going up, and it's beautiful. The yellow color is something to see, and people who have seen it will know that this is a picture which is very important to be shown in aloe vera, not with the plants which as you see in houses. How they are developed step by step is more important to understand botany very clearly and divine mathematics and how they proceed thereafter. It's an interesting subject. Now you can see the same thing, the fruits, yellow fruits you can see on the left side on top, and how they contain fruits and then create seeds inside that. That is something which to be understood and appreciated. Then life can be from there to the next new growth itself. And I think that is amazing sign, and I have witnessed that in my house itself. And since I have noticed, that's why I am able to add few things in this picture to show how beautiful is this particular process, like bananas and onions, and this stands exactly on that part. But there is much more in that which bananas and onions do not stand. Bananas, onion, you can see the 10 structures of banana are in onion, but here it's something much more than that. Now I'm taking you to another very important concept. There are 10 plants that give oxygen at night. That's very specific statement. Whole prime objective of plant kingdom was only to form oxygen with 8 protons. That is the primary thing. But most of the plants by and large produce oxygen during early morning and the late night. And early morning 6 a.m. if you take Brahmani Gayatri mantra and pour water into that ultraviolet light, oxygen is more. Evening at 6 p.m. western sun facing that Rudra Granthi, you put water, you produce water again. That is, most of plants are only doing the morning and night. But this is the plant which produces at night. That means there is no photosynthesis involved in formation of this. There is much more important that this produces oxygen. It is not from water to this which is photosynthesis as a in a light reaction. This is a dark reaction, and dark reaction can happen, and particularly in aloe vera it is night along with ninth thing, and that thing stands out. That means if you have this particular plant at home in your balcony, you nourish it very well, you will have abundance of oxygen even at night, continuously going thereafter. And maybe the next one I will be talking about banyan tree, the one which can produce oxygen 24 hours. So plants which produce morning and evening, plant which produce night, next which plant 24 hours. And I think that is something which I want everybody to understand, how beautiful has designed nature in such a way. It is not only the sun which can produce, even without the sun the reactions can produce oxygen for the human consumption, animal consumption, or bring the atmosphere of the earth itself much more to 21% oxygen. And that is, again I said, in mercury there is 42% oxygen, because there is sunlight directly so close to from the sun that it converts that water or everything into oxygen itself. That's very clear. It could be even hydrogen to oxygen itself, it could be 8 stages, no doubt. But when come to earth, it has got plants which gave you 21%. But there are no plants in Venus, no plants in Mars. As a result, almost 97% of the carbon dioxide continues to be there, which incidentally was the thing in Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars to start with, was 97%. Now it's changed in Mercury to 42 and oxygen, and Earth 21% oxygen, and remaining nitrogen, other gases. I think once that is understood, you know how the nature has dissolved, and I want that knowledge for everyone, not necessarily only science students. And this is a common thing which I believe which every human being can easily comprehend beautifully by understanding systematically as a sequence form. Nothing unsectarian can work it out, and that's the reason I'm creating a sequence how nature developed it from zero right up to greatest microcosmic to the macrocosmic universe as a step by step. And that is the knowledge should be there for every student throughout the world, and my videos can be used for that clarity one by one. Now comes the question of showing again the creation of oxygen. You can see left and right. Left you see the light dependent reaction. You have the sun, light, early morning, evening, and it's the water which is converting oxygen is very clear. But on the other side is the light independent where carbon dioxide is converted into glucose. But I do know carbon dioxide is converted into glucose in aloe vera, and also those ingredients inside, plus oxygen also is produced at night when there is no light at all. I think that makes aloe vera great. Carbon dioxide, 2 glucose plus oxygen. That's understood. I think that's very clear ki how beautiful is aloe vera. Now comes to the question, active components with their properties we are going to see in aloe vera. Aloe vera contains 75 potentially active constituents, vitamins, enzymes, minerals, sugars, lignin, saponin, salicylic acid, and amino acids, etc., etc. Now we are going to see 8 different types of ingredients in aloe vera. One thing which stands out first is antioxidant vitamins. That means vitamin A is great, vitamin C is there, vitamin E is there. It also can B12, folic acid and choline. When you understand this, could be very useful for ingredient as such. So somebody is very cautiously taking this food alone is very clear, but with the clear that they do not have a disease, they do not take anything which is going to reduce the potassium content, which I am going to talk about it later. So antioxidant neutralizes free radical is essential. So aloe vera can be used for these things with a caution, provided you do not have problem of protein, the potassium deficiency at all. That's clear. Now the second is enzymes. It contains 8 enzymes, and alkaline phosphatase, amylase, bradykinin, calcitonin, catalase. These are all the enzymes which are there exactly produced by the pancreas. They are food for digestion. That means these enzymes will help you to do digestion of the food very well in gastrointestinal system or digestive system. Bradykinase helps to reduce excessive inflammation when applied topically to the skin, while others help in breakdown of sugars and fats. So when bradykinase is applied on the skin externally, they can remove the inflammation, help very well. So anti-inflammatory healing properties are very good because of these enzymes given as such. Now comes the question of minerals. It prioritizes calcium, chromium, copper, selenium, magnesium, manganese, potassium, sodium and zinc. All the essential nutrients or minerals required for the body are there in aloe vera. It chooses the one which is essential for human beings. So it could be a panacea as such. They are essential for proper functioning of various enzyme systems in different metabolic pathways, and some are antioxidants. So from that angle, this is really a very wonderful thing. Consume it with a caution, absolutely no problem, very beneficial. Now come to the question of sugar. It provides monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are glucose and fructose only. It provides polysaccharide, glucosamines or polymannose. These are derived from mucilage layer of the plant and are known as mucopolysaccharides. And mucopolysaccharides are the one which give you the dual things or disaccharide as such. But primarily it is glucose and fructose which are the primary sugars. It is where abundance. Most prominent monosaccharide is mannose 6 phosphate, and most common polysaccharides are glucosamines or beta 1,4 acetyl amines. So acimane is a prominent glucamine. It has been also found recently a glycoprotein with anti-allergic properties called alprogen, and the novel anti-inflammatory compound C-glycyrrhizochromone have also been isolated from aloe vera gel. So you can imagine the kind of sugars which are there are phenomenal in that. Though this can be a very potent herb thing for anybody, used cautiously with the awareness there are no side effects at all. Everything in small quantity is a panacea. Anything in large quantity could be defective is also a statement which I make it very clear. So I use different things in smaller quantity, including aloe vera, so that there is no side effect. Within a certain amount it can be regulated very well, and you keep an eye on biochemistry, then you will have no problem whatsoever. But keep an eye what kind of changes are done within the body. Now come to the anthraquinones. It provides 12 which are phenolic compounds traditionally known as laxatives. Aloin and girin as analgesic, antibacterial, and so you can understand it can keep the motion very clear. You will not have a constipation, and you will have a good analgesic, antibacterial, and other activities within that. You can imagine the kind of things which aloe vera can produce. I think it's essential from that. Now the fatty acid is something which 4 phenylsteroids, cholesterol, acetylcholesterol and leuprol. All these have anti-inflammatory action, and leuprol also possesses antiseptic and analgesic property. You can imagine the amount of benefits are there. Again, I would say use it cautiously with an eye that they are not allowed to produce the potassium deficiency as such. I make it again and again. Potassium deficiency is the biggest problem. Now come to the question of hormones. Auxin and globulin help in wound healing and have anti-inflammatory action. These are the compounds or different forms which give you abundance use of aloe vera as such, and I think benefits are tremendous as such as we are moving on step by step to the stage how things can move on with the caution, with the knowledge, and use it effectively, and use your body to tell you whether it's right or wrong. Body will tell you whether it's good or bad, what in consideration you should take, because your body becomes an instrument to talk about its subjective sensation, objective sensation, and that is the research which I am talking about. Now the other benefits, it provides 20 of the 22 human required amino acids. They are essential 22, it provides 20, and 7 or 8 are essential amino acids are produced by this. Again 22 are required amino acids, and this provides 7 or the 8 essential amino acids are produced. And I think this is amazing. It also contains salicylic acid, as I told you very well, very good for healing processes, and which possess anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties. Lignin is an inert substance when included in topical preparation, enhances the penetrative effect of other ingredients into the skin. So it's a very facilitator of even taking it into skin and remove things from inside itself. Saponins, which are soapy substances, form over 3% of gel, have a cleansing and antiseptic property. You can imagine the kind of things which are there in this. If you can use that effectively, what kind of benefits we can get in the process is amazing. Now come to the question of aloe vera. The benefits and fruits have shown and how different forms it can work, and you can see it very well. Every part of the body can benefit, and particularly in topical things, use it very efficiently as such. Now coming to the stage of impeccable wisdom. I have talked about spores and other things. In that process, we started from bacteria to the fungus to algae, etc. When it comes to the question of algae, there is green algae called spirulina, and I make it very clearly here. Consume 2 grams of spirulina every day. It's a beautiful amino acids, beautiful carotene, vitamins, and all the things which you find in aloe vera is also spirulina very well. And dried green algae, spirulina, is a beneficial thing in the protein kingdom. It can do a wonderful job. So that's the first thing which I am talking about. Second, please do not consume aloe vera just like that. It should be applied to skin and teeth only for a short time for local action. Why? Aloe vera can deplete potassium levels again. I am giving a caution. Keep an eye on potassium. You should not go for hypoproteinemia. If you go for hypoproteinemia, your heart could get affected, and that's it. You should not go for hypernatremia, hyperpotassium of like mineralocorticoids. If once that is done, then use it cautiously in such a way that you work within the limit, so that you have only good benefits, not the bad effects. I am not saying that consume at all. Consume with a caution, within limits, and keep an eye that they do not go for protein deficiency and nothing more than that, and no potassium deficiency, no hypokalemia, because hypokalemia is the one which actually kills you. Hyponatremia, all these are imbalances, and you keep the electrolyte of sodium, potassium, water in concentration with the glucose to the perfect one. Once that is kept an eye, you will not have diabetes, you will not have hypertension, you will not have any problem. But keep an eye on your biochemistry, that you should not suffer. But your body itself will tell you whether it's right or wrong. Once you understand that, things will be very clear. Now the question of this, there is no need to talk about enough for the day. Thank you very much.